And welcome, sports fans, to today's roundtable. And what a week of high school basketball it was this week, and capped off with a big night last night. Some big games that we'll get to in just a moment. But we've been live last night for the Stoddard County Activities Association finals night, and what a night it was. We had all four games, JV and varsity, capping off with the championship game between Bernie and Advance, and Bernie coming out with that victory. And we've got both Bernie coaches along with us, varsity and JV coaches, Brad Botsch and Jason Long, with us today to talk about their big night in the tournament last night. And also we'll have Scott Nelson along with us to talk about the landscape of girls basketball here in southeast Missouri and the Coaches versus Cancer shootout taking place in Charleston today. There's some big games taking place over there today, and we're going to talk about those matchups, so stick around for that. We got quite a few guests in for today's show. And also we'll touch on the state rankings and local rankings here in southeast Missouri and for the state of Missouri itself. So a lot to get to today, and we hope you join us each Saturday at 10 a.m. right here on the Roundtable, here on YHC Channel 21 and SEMOSportZone.com. So be sure to tune in each Saturday, 10 a.m. live here at YHC. And let's go ahead and take a look at those games from last night. And we had quite a few big games in the area. And we'll start off with the Stoddard County games from last night. The third place game of the Stoddard County varsity tournament. It was Dexter defeating Bloomfield in a close one, 40-37, and Dexter pulling out that win there for third place in Stoddard County, and did so without Chase Young, one of their starting guards. He was out due to a knee injury from the semifinals, and Dexter pulled it together and pulled out the third place victory in last night's third place game. So impressive victory for the Dexter Bearcats. And in the championship game, it was Bernie and Advance, and what a game it was. Bernie coming out with that victory, 54-43, and we've got some footage of the action we'll go ahead and take a look at now. And a pretty close game there for the first half, and a very defensive-oriented game there in the first half between these two teams, as we see Joey Walker getting a putback early on, giving Bernie the first basket of the game, and see Curtis Gilliland with a nice step through and finish there in the first quarter. And David Baker had a really good game in the paint. As you see there, he gets that putback. He always does well there in between, there in the paint. And as we see there, Ethan Barr, nice player for the Advance Hornets, getting that reverse layup. And later on, Lane Ballou gets a nice three-pointer in the third quarter. And this is where things really opened up. Sam Turner for a three. It hit actually 3 threes there in the third quarter. And a nice pass from Landon Woods from the baseline out to B.J. Jennings, knocking down the three, and really got opened up here in this third quarter. Sam Turner hits another three in the third. And we see David Baker here step in, hit that jumper in the lane. And now David Baker on the break here in the fourth quarter. This is where they're going to pretty much finish it off, as the Bernie Mules come away with a 54-43 win over the Advance Hornets. Impressive victory for the Bernie Mules. Really opened up in the third quarter, as we mentioned. The third quarter scoring was 20-3 advantage for the Bernie Mules, and scored 20-3 against the Advance Hornets in that third quarter. The Advance just had a hard time getting that shot to fall last night. They had some good looks. They just couldn't knock it down, but Bernie took advantage of the third quarter to come out aggressively offensively and pulled out the championship last night. And it's their second in 4 years, Bernie, in that Stoddard County Activities Association tournament. And also worth noting on the JV side, Bernie defeated Dexter in the JV tournament to pull out their second straight JV tournament championship as well. So a big night for Bernie, winning those two tournaments for the JV and varsity. And we'll talk with coaches Brad Botsch and Jason Long here momentarily about their big night and week-long tournament this past week. And in other games last night, it was Twin Rivers over East Carter County, 82-54. Charleston over Kennett, 69-42, and Kennett's been without Kevontae Mitchell the past few games. He's out with an injury at this point. Hopefully he can get back on the court as soon as possible. He's a big-time talent for the Kennett Indians, and I'm sure they missed him last night going up against very talented Charleston Blue Jays club. Kennett hung around with him early, but as time goes on, Charleston's going to wear on you both offensively and defensively, and that was the case last night. Charleston pulling out the victory over Kennett, 69-42. Also, New Madrid County Central versus Portageville, big rivalry game there last night. Win handily for New Madrid County, 82-64. Always a big-time matchup between those two teams. New Madrid getting the advantage last night. Sykeston defeating Crothersville handily, 84-41. Holcomb over Clarkton in the Tri-County Conference, 69-38. Poplar Bluff over Cape Central, 74-69 in the SEMO Conference. South Iron over Meadow Heights, 62-22. Notre Dame over Jackson in the SEMO Conference, 70-62. Chaffee over Scott County Central, 64-47. This is one club that's making strides this year. Chaffee going to move into our SEMO Sports Zone Top 25 poll this week, and the Red Devils making some noise in this second half of the season. Also, Leopold over Oran, a big Class 2 matchup up north between those two teams. Or actually, they're not both in Class 2. Leopold Class 1, Oran Class 2, but the northern matchup there, big matchup there, and Leopold comes out with the narrow victory, 48-46. Also, we have Risk over Southland in the Tri-County Conference, 78-35. South Pemiscot over Neelyville, 70-58. Oak Ridge over Kelly, 66-38. Delta C7 over Zenith Hornersville, 57-56, and a tough loss for Zenith Hornersville, coming off a nice victory just a few nights ago over Risco. They got a narrow victory over Risco, suffered a narrow loss last night to Delta C7. And also we have Farmington over St. Genevieve, 54-45. And those are the scores from last night. A lot of good action from last night. And we got about probably a month or less left in the season. So a lot of action to get to coming up here in high school basketball in Southeast Missouri and Northeast Arkansas. And we're going to take a break and be back with Bernie coaches Jason Long and Brad Botsch talk about their impressive week, capping off with Stoddard County Tournament Championships, and we'll be back with them coming up.
With an interactive home security system from New Wave, your family comes home to peace of mind. Now we bring you the future of home security. Arm and disarm your system remotely from your office computer or iPhone. Even look in on family or pets with live video from inside your home. In an emergency, our 24/7 alarm monitoring responds with the help you need. Peace of mind wherever you are. Now available from New Wave Communications.
At Glen St. and Kennett, we have a lot full of inventory and the best rebates of the year. I'm Danny Ford, owner of Glen St. We just want the opportunity to talk to you about your next car or truck. The rebates are the best of the year and interest rates the lowest to work with. It's a great time to buy, and our people are excited to help you make the right choice. We realize you have a lot of dealers to choose from, but I can assure you no one appreciates your business like we do. Glen St. and Kennett, and God bless our troops.
When I was a kid, we didn't have all these wireless devices. We only had one computer plugged into the wall, and we were grateful.
Technology changes fast. Stay ahead with blazing fast internet speeds from New Wave Communications. New Wave delivers the internet with incredible speeds, up to 50 megabits per second. Pick the package that's right for you. New Wave, the area's fastest internet, period.
Kids today don't know how good they have it.
Let's talk about next year. This is the time of year to reflect on last season's crop and make decisions for next season. What mix of crops should you plant? Should you buy new equipment this year or get by another year with what you have? We'd like to help you make the financial side of your planning a little easier. Our ag department knows agriculture, and they're local.
Stop by and see us
at First Midwest Bank.
And now we're along with Bernie coaches, Jason Long here in the middle and Brad Botsch on the end. And what a night for Bernie basketball last night, not to mention the cheerleaders come away with a cheerleading competition. So it was a clean sweep for Bernie last night.
Yeah, it was good night for our school, no doubt.
Sure. And, this Stoddard County tournament, it doesn't matter if you got one team that's really, far and away better than the others, but it always comes down to these rivalry games in this tournament. It's on, mostly a neutral court most of the time in Bloomfield last night, and playing against a tough advanced team, which you've already had experience playing in a close game earlier in the year, which come down to a Sam Turner full court shot, and probably a little bit better outcome this time for y'all.
Well, I really thought our kids rose up. I was really, really proud of the effort they gave last night, and Advance is super talented. They've got two premier players in Bar and Blue, and our kids really bought into what we want them to do, and couldn't be more pleased with our effort last night, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I thought we made them have tough looks all night long and contested everything they did, and just really good night for us.
Sure. And you coming in, you had a big assignment with Ethan Barr. He had a big game in the semifinals, and just making things difficult for him. And I thought Joey Walker did a great job making things just difficult for him to where he just couldn't get easy looks.
Tremendous job. Joey is one of the only kids that could probably match him strength for strength, and even then he gives up probably 3 inches to him. But Joey just was a man in there and bodied him up and walled him up best he could, and that's Barr is probably averaging 23, 24 points a game, and Joey and the rest of the guys just did an excellent job, doing keeping him at bay, and then I thought Landon did an excellent job as well on Blue, and we just had a great defensive effort from the team. I think we drew about 6 charges last night, and kids just really sacrificed themselves for the victory.
Sure. And starting out this game, it was pretty defensive oriented. The shots weren't falling for either team in the first half. No 3-pointers in the first half, and it was a defensive oriented game there in the first half. And as soon as that second half come around, you all really opened it up with the outside shot. You saw Sam Turner hitting a few threes, and also B.J. Jennings, and that's where the game really got its margin. You all got y'all's margin there in the third quarter.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We talked about a little bit at halftime, is that there wasn't a whole lot of adjustments we needed to make. We needed to make some shots.
Yeah.
The kids just did an excellent job. They followed the game plan like we wanted them to do, and they really bought into what we had going, and we just had to step up and make some shots. We had enough open looks in the first half to make them. They didn't fall. And second half, I thought we did a much, much better job getting to the basket somewhat. David really, kind of found his groove. He's just a scorer,
yeah.
And he's going to find it sometime. And I thought, the guards did a better job handling the ball. We had a few turnovers in the first half, but we hit some shots. Sam hit 3 big ones there, and BJ hit one out there, and then again. There's a lot of different things that go on that probably aren't seen. Joey seals real well for people penetrating down the lane, and I think probably the most important statistic of the night that a lot of people probably overlook is the fact that I think we out-rebounded them, and they're huge.
Mm-hmm.
When you've got Wallace and Barr and Gilland in there, they flat out can rebound, and they're pretty tenacious in there. And our guys got in there and battled them, and was really, really, really proud of everything our kids did last night.
Yeah, looking at that third quarter to where y'all really made a run, seems like when y'all are doing 3 or 4 things at once, you've got Sam Turner, B.J. Jennings knocking down that outside shot. You've got Landon Woods really slashing, getting to the paint, making things happen, and David Baker rising up there in the paint, hitting that shot that he's probably 80% at, rising up there in the lane. It just seems like y'all are really tough team offensively when all those things are working for you.
Yeah, it's funny how the game kind of comes full circle. It wasn't long ago we were kind of at the low of all lows, and then after last night we really celebrated a great win and enjoyed the win a lot more than we do sometimes. And you know, when you lose close games or you lose games that you feel like you should win, you know, it makes you question everything you do. It makes you question your coaching decisions and your personnel and who you're playing and whether you're playing the right defense or offense. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into your mind. And you know, last night really, you know, it was just a great moment for our kids because they really work hard, and we just got a great bunch of kids that believe in what, you know, they're trying to do, and it really, like I say, brings it full circle from, you know, you go from the pendulum just swings. You know, you lose a game you feel like you should win, you're down here, and then after last night beating a really, really good Advance team, just kind of brings it all the way back around and makes it feel worthwhile to the kids and us both.
Sure. Yeah, big win last night for the varsity team. And transitioning to the JV, we've got Jason Long here, the coach of the JV team. And Jason, got a good run here in the past few years with the JV program and another Stoddard County Tournament championship last night.
Yeah, last night was pretty nice for a couple different reasons. And the biggest one is after last year, the sophomores, the incoming sophomores, they kind of looked at this season as a challenge because we had so many sophomores last year, and they have a lot of pride, and they really work hard too. And last night, just the way it worked out, we didn't sub one time. All five guys played the entire game. So what you're happy because you win, but I'm real happy because it takes some guts and toughness. Even if it is the JV level, you know, that's hard on kids, and you have to be tough and gutty and really want to win to be able to do that. So I was real proud of that effort just from a physical and mental standpoint.
Sure. Going back to last year, a lot of talk about last year's JV team almost going undefeated. Took one loss to Sykeston, which, you know, there's no shame in that, losing to a talented program in Sykeston, what they're doing up there. But you come back this season, only one loss so far this year against Crothersville, only a few points away from winning that game. So, you know, only one loss so far this year. And I tell you, I'll just bring in the talent, no whether it was varsity, JV, and especially the younger kids are buying into, you know, what y'all are trying to, you know, emphasize in the program and doing very well at the JV level.
Well, they got to keep working. We're really, you know, if you understand what I'm saying, we're really nothing special from the standpoint of, if you look at us physically, you know, we're not big, we're not super quick, so we try to impress upon them, you know, if you want to be able to play varsity basketball, there's a lot of work that's got to be done, and you need to set some goals along the way, and you really need to commit to doing this because, you know, it's nice to have success at the JV level, but there's a big difference between the JV and the varsity level. So hopefully this success that we've had, it will motivate them to continue to want to work to get better so that they can keep playing and keep improving and keep enjoying success.
Sure. And like you mentioned, you know, there's not a whole lot of, you know, you look at those kids out there, you know, you don't think you're looking at an undefeated or close to undefeated team out there.
Not going to impress anybody when they walk out, when they take the shooting shirt off, you know what I mean?
But the thing that you probably mentioned that they do so well is execute. They execute offensively, defensively, not a whole lot of mistakes, and you know, that's probably the best thing you can say about, you know, the past few JV teams is that their execution is very impressive.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time on that. We spend a lot of time on trying to make sure that we get the ball where it needs to be, where it needs to go on offense, and we've got good, unselfish kids. You know, obviously that's real important. There's one kid on the bench that doesn't even hardly get to play, and it's kind of funny because in timeouts now, when he's heard us say so many things to different kids, he just repeats it. He'll say something to one of the kids that are out there before we'll have a chance to say it, and really that's great because he's not over there worried about whether or not he's getting to play. He's worried about the team, and that's really, you know, that's really a compliment to him and to all the kids because some of those kids don't get to play very much right now, but they're still coming to practice, they're still working, so they're still maintaining a really good attitude, and that's just as important as the X's and O's or working on the jumper or or lifting or whatever it is that you do. So.
Sure. And the kids you talk about, Matt Vernon, he probably stands, maybe 5'7", something like that?
5'6".
About 5'6". Okay, well, I gave him a little bump there, but, he's an impressive guard for you all. And, Caleb Ellenberg, he stands, about 6'1", maybe 6'2"?
6'1".
6'1". And, he's one of the more craftiest players I've ever seen, especially at the JV level. It seems like he just always finds a hole, little space, and that's all he needs is to put up that little lefty shot, and he's very effective.
Yeah, Matt and Brandon and Caleb and all those guys, they take a lot of pride. Caleb works. He just works and works and works and works, and he needs to continue to do that. Mm-hmm. And he deserves the success that he's achieved up to this point because he's been challenged by both of us, and he doesn't shy away. And same way with Matt. Matt realizes he's little, and he's probably not going to be 6'3" next year. So he realizes, hey, there's things I've got to do to get better, to have a chance to play. So,
and there's nobody like a kid like Caleb that gets grilled more. I mean, Jason is he's on him all the time.
Yeah.
And he takes it. He's not. He doesn't pout, and he takes it because he wants to be pushed. He wants to get better, and that's something. Sometimes kids today don't really want to hear the things that they the tough talk that they need to hear, and Jason's the best at that, and he really stays on them, and guys like Matt and Caleb and Brandon and Devin and all those guys, they take the criticism and they work to get better, and that's the reason they you can play 5 guys for an entire game, and they never came out one time because it's just kind of the way it worked out. But they're tough kids.
Sure, yeah, they sure show it on the court, that's for sure. And talking about y'all season going forward, I know Brad. It seems like anytime you go up against a Class II opponent, you've got a lot of preparation and a lot of things going into a game because this Class II this year is awful deep. Not only here in the South, but up north as with Advance and some teams up there. And I tell you, that Class II is awful deep this year.
It definitely is. Anybody can beat anybody. We seem like we're on an upswing a little bit, playing a little bit better basketball. But we won the championship last night, and we turn around and play Holcomb Tuesday. Mm-hmm. And Holcomb's as good as anybody around, and going up against Coach McBroom is no fun. Even though he's a good friend, I still want to beat him every time we play him. But they're as good a team as you'll play, and then we've got Notre Dame Friday, and then we turn around next week and we play Hayti and Malden, and then we've got Richland and Sykeston. So, we've got definitely some tough games coming up.
We've got to go to Hayti.
And our kids are going to have to, we're going to have to be ready every single night, or, we could play pretty well and still lose. I mean, we've got the gauntlet coming up, and our guys are going to have to be ready to compete every single second of that game, just like they were last night. And I think I've already mentioned it, but that was one of the most impressive things. I thought every possession we were focused, and that's not something that's easy all the time for us. I think we lose focus on the defensive end, especially some. I thought last night every possession were focused. We weren't perfect defensively every possession, but we were really focused and trying to do what we needed to do.
Sure. You talk about those games coming up. You play a competitive schedule if you stick to your conference and those Class II opponents you've got. But y'all slotted in Notre Dame and Sykeston over the past few years, trying to beef up that schedule for your tournament run. Crothersville in there. So actually you got a win a couple years ago against Notre Dame. So playing against Sykeston every year, that's only going to make you better. I know that's a tough opponent to go up and to match up against, but we got some tough opponents. They're slotting in some Class 3 and 4 teams.
That's what we want. We want. Last night was a district championship atmosphere, and when you play Sykeston and Notre Dame, you got to absolutely bring it, or you're not gonna even compete and stay in the same gym with them. You've got to absolutely bring it every second, every possession. So it's real important for us to play those good teams and really do the best we can to compete in those games.
Yeah, and you look as we're looking at your schedule here: Holcomb, Notre Dame, Hayti, Malden, Richland, Sykeston, and you'd say all the 2 weakest games there you've got is Malden and Richland, but man, those teams got different things to their team that can really be effective. Malden, they really get after you on defense and try to get into an open court game. And Richland, they've come along and improved quite a bit this year. And then, with Forshee there in the middle at 6'11", he's always an assignment you've got to look forward to.
Yeah, definitely. We're not going to take any of those games for granted at all. I mean,
Malden beat South Pim and Hayti.
Yep. Yeah.
And every single one of those opponents is capable of beating us if we don't bring it, and we're going to prepare the same way for everybody we play, and go all in preparation, and hope we perform. And that's the thing that we talk to the kids about all the time. When you play varsity basketball, it's it's not about playing everybody or making sure everybody gets in the game. And if you are in the game, it's about performance at that level. You have to perform. You have to, you have to show why you need to be out there. And the reason that's the reason we preach to them so much about improving their skills and working on their fundamentals, because that's the easiest way to justify why you need to be out there to help our team. And our kids work hard, and we're really fortunate to have a group of kids that we have down there.
Sure, and good time for the Bernie basketball program, and I tell you, these guys, they do it right. They work hard in the summer. These kids turn out and they put a lot of effort into it. So that's what it takes. From the start is kids putting in time over the summer, developing their game, and turn it on to the court when it comes November. So you guys do it right and doing a great job. And we could talk about what you've already done. Playing in 2 state championships going back a few years ago, 2 straight years. And certainly putting good teams on the floor this year and for years to come. So congratulations to you guys. I know the effort you all put into it year in, year out, and it certainly shows it on the floor each year.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We just had a good run of great kids, and our alumni really support us, and I text back and forth with a lot of those former players, and we've had several play in college, and in fact, I'm going over to watch Jordan McGowan play tonight over at Three Rivers, and we've been fortunate to have such good kids that buy in, and I think that's one of the most important things in high school sports is the buy-in factor. And if the kids will sell out for you and do everything, you don't really even have to know much about basketball if they'll just get out there and work extremely hard and give it all they got. And we've got a good bunch of kids down there that we're proud of.
Sure, and we'll be looking forward to it going forward. And speaking of that Bernie Hawcom game, we'll be down there for that one Tuesday night. Be showing that one here on Channel 21, CMOSportZone.com. So that's one of the first ones to look forward to from Bernie after this Stoddard County tournament. And appreciate you guys from coming in today, and good luck going forward. And we'll be looking forward to it the rest of the way.
And thanks for having us.
Thank you.
All right. And we'll take a break and be back with more. Don't go away.
I'm a full-time wife and mom, and I also work as a substitute teacher. You can see why it seems impossible to get a college degree, but with Southeast Missouri State University's regional campuses, it really is within my reach. I can get a degree without leaving my hometown, and that's important when you have a family. Getting a college degree isn't easy, but Southeast makes it convenient.
Welcome to NFL Total Access,
the show that takes you inside the locker room and down on the field. With inside access to all 32 teams all year long. NFL Total Access, Monday through Saturday, only on NFL Network.
NFL Network, where football season never ends.
Southeast Missouri Mutual Insurance is celebrating our 100th year. We started protecting rural farmers way back in 1910, insuring folks no one else would. Southeast Missouri Mutual Insurance has been a family business for 4 generations, and we continue that tradition today, providing solid home, farm, and commercial insurance at very competitive rates. When the ice storm hit us, we were out there with you. All of our claims were processed within days. And we will continue to provide the best coverage and the best service for the next 100 years. Southeast Missouri Mutual Insurance, a century of service.
And now we're along with Scott Nelson talking about some girls basketball, and it's getting a very interesting time of the year. We're starting to see how these teams are starting to work out in each of the classes, and some very good basketball this year in girls basketball.
Yeah, been some really good games, a lot of good tournaments throughout the region, and hopefully some more really good games coming up.
Sure, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. We want to touch on the local rankings. We'll start with the Seymour Sports Zone Top 10 Girls Poll for this week, and Dexter on top there, as they've been all year, at number 1, 2, Saxony Lutheran, 3, Notre Dame, 4, Poplar Bluff, 5, Clearwater, 6, Neelyville, 7, Scott County Central, 8, Jackson, 9, Woodland, and 10, Charleston, moving into this poll this week. And moving on to the state rankings for girls basketball for the state of Missouri. And we'll start off in Class 1, Walnut Grove at number 1, 2, North Mercer, 3, Wellington Napoleon, 4, Dadeville, 5, Norborn, 6, North Andrew, 7, Wooblu, 8, Polo, 9, Mound City, and 10, Camoy. In Class 2, Silex at number 1, 2, Archie, 3, Sturgeon, 4, Crane, 5, Seymour, 6, Skyline, 7, Salisbury, 8, Crocker, 9, Maysville, and 10, Thayer. In Class 3, St. James at number 1, 2, Trenton, 3, Herman, 4, Ash Grove, 5, Saxony Lutheran, 6, Lutheran of St. Charles, 7, Trenton, 8, Principia, 9, Hamilton, and 10, Blair Oaks. In Class 4, Incarnate Word at number 1, 2, Republic, 3, Sullivan, 4, West Plains, 5, St. Charles, 6, Pleasant Hill, 7, Miller Career Academy, 8, Dexter, 9, Kirksville, and 10, Webb City. And in Class 5, Truman at number 1, 2, St. Joseph's, 3, Rockbridge, 4, Blue Springs, 5, Nixa, 6, Parkway South, 7, Hickman, 8, Parkway North, 9, Park Hill South, and 10, Ozark. And those are your girls' rankings for the state of Missouri. And Scott, we got a lot of good girls basketball taking place today over in Charleston, and that's getting underway as we speak here. The Coaches versus Cancer Girls Shootout, and Sykeston and Scott County Central already underway with games upcoming at noon. Greenville versus Portageville, 1:30, East Prairie and Woodland, 3 o'clock Poplar Bluff and Carbondale, 4:30 Dexter and St. Joseph's Academy, 6 New Madrid County Central Meadow Heights, and 7:30 Charleston versus Twin Rivers. And the game to look forward there is, of course, at 4:30 Dexter versus St. Joseph's Academy.
We've got number 2 in Class 5 in St. Joseph's, and Dexter at number 8 in Class 4, and just going to be a really good matchup. St. Joseph's has a couple of premier players. One signed with St. Louis University, I believe, and her name is, I believe, Erin Nelson is the one that's signed with St. Louis U. She's about a 5'11" senior, averaging about 16 a game. The other one is, for those of you Mizzou fans, it's Steve Stepanovich's niece. Her name is Sydney Stepanovich. She's a 6'3" post player, and she's signed with Penn. So that's going to be a big challenge for the Lady Bearcats today to go over there and play against some premier players. Historically, a great program up in St. Louis, ranked number 2 in Class 5 in the state. So they got their work cut out for them today, but I think the girls will be up for the challenge.
And Dexter's had a really impressive run here in the last month or two. They got some big wins. They got a big win over, help me out, just last week. Big win. Webster Groves.
Oh, yeah.
Webster Groves.
Yeah. That was a couple weekends ago, but Webster Groves, they're ranked in the St. Louis rankings in the large schools. They're a Class 5 school up there. St. Joseph's Academy played Webster Groves prior to us playing and beat them by 2. And the Bearcats went up and beat Webster Groves by 7. So you can't really go by that, but we're hoping that we can hang in there with St. Joseph's and come out with a win today. So
I tell you, this Dexter team, if they've got everything going, say that I see that they got 3 or 4 girls that can knock down the 3-pointer. They got 2 great post players there in Paige Patterson and Brittany Harris. And if all those things are working, they're playing well on defense, just not making things easy for the opposition. If those things are working, they're going to be in every game that they play, any team they play with.
I think Coach Allen and Coach Seitz would tell you that, what Dexter does comes from their defensive end of the floor. And they preach and preach and preach defense, as most good basketball coaches will do. But the girls have really bought into playing defense this year and are playing some very, very good defense. And as a result of that, they are able to get some good transition baskets. And that's kind of how the Lady Bearcats like to play. They've gutted out a win, as you mentioned, against Webster Groves, really a slow-down game, and they gutted that one out. But when they're clicking on all cylinders, they like to get up and down the court.
Sure. And, of course, going up against big teams like St. Joseph's, you're going to have to execute in half court because, those easy baskets aren't going to be available like they would on another team. So half court execution's vital, and, if they're getting good looks, getting the 3-pointers down and getting Harris and Paige Patterson there, working down low and rebounding, that's very important too, in big games. And where possessions matter, a big deal.
Yeah, the Stepanovich girl, she's going to rebound. She's averaging about 7 block shots a game this year. So, the Lady Bearcats are just going to have to go in there knowing that she's going to get her blocks and not let that get to them, and just go in and play their game and see what happens.
Sure. And, going back on Dexter's season, they've had a good run, big wins over Paragould down there in that little shootout they had down there. And, they've really beefed up the schedule this year, and they've needed to because they're going to be playing against some tough teams come
beefed up the schedule quite a bit. Got another kind of like the coaches from Bernie were talking a little bit ago. This last month of the season here coming up is going to be a pretty good run. We get into the SEMO conference games with Cape Notre Dame and Jackson and Poplar Bluff again, and then we've added Republic, which will be playing over at West Plains towards the end of the year, and Republic are the defending Class 4 state champions. So Coach Allen and Coach Seitz have really done a great job of making the schedule tougher, getting us more prepared for hopefully a long and deep playoff run.
Sure. We'll be looking forward to that matchup today at 4:30. If you want to see some good girls basketball, you go over to Charleston for the Coaches versus Cancer Shootout, taking place getting underway now, going through this evening. And taking a look at some other games there today in Charleston. Got some big teams that participate here in Southeast Missouri, Poplar Bluff and Carbondale. That's a matchup to look forward to. And Scott County Central, that's a team that's really come on. They're in Class 1. They're going up against Sykeston today.
Yeah, that Scott County Central and Sykeston game ought to be a really good game. Again, 2 teams that are going to want to get up and down the floor. And, Coach Shawnoff over at Sykeston, he's got those girls playing a lot better. And I think they're without one of their starters that had an injury, but even at that, they're really playing a lot better basketball and progressed a lot here as the year has gone on. So that ought to be a really good game.
Yeah, and Scott County Central won the Scott Mississippi Conference Tournament this year. They defeated Charleston, and what a game that was! I think it was 196 final score into overtime.
A lot of offense in that game.
They were putting the shots up that game, that's for sure. But that's impressive, Phil. Putting up 100 points in a girls' game, that's
another game, Tyler, I think will be a good game is the Charleston Twin Rivers game, that last game of the night. And both of those teams are also playing a lot better. Twin Rivers was able to come out with a victory over Poplar Bluff here a week or two ago. So that was a big win for them and gave them a lot of confidence. They got the senior Tori Cole, who's pretty good size, and she plays inside and also can shoot it from the outside. So Charleston Twin Rivers will also be a good nightcap game if you're going to go over. You can stay and watch that one as well.
Sure, good games lined up there, and a very impressive shootout there put together by the Charleston schools with that coaches versus cancer shootout. The proceeds go towards I believe it's the St. Francis Dig for Life campaign for cancer research. So certainly a good endeavor there over in Charleston each year with that coaches versus cancer shootout. And we're going to touch on the other rankings for the boys. We'll touch on the boys now in high school basketball. The CMO Sports Zone Top 25 poll for this week for the boys. Sykeston on top at number 1, 2 Charleston, which they're going to battle that out here in the next few days, or later this month, January 31st. That game taking place at the Show Me Center.
At CMO at the Show Me Center.
So Show Me Center in Cape Girardeau. That's on the 31st. That game will be played up there, so we'll be able to duke it out with those two top teams in Southeast Missouri come the 31st. Number 3, Poplar Bluff. 4, Holcomb. 5, Clearwater, up from 9. Clearwater putting together a good run this year. 6, Kennett. 7, Cape Central. 8, Leopold, up from 11. They've really made some noise this year in Class 1. 9, Oran. 10, Bernie, up from 13. 11, New Madrid County Central. 12, Jackson, down from 5. They've hit a tough stretch here in the last week. 13, Park Hill Central. 14, Advance. 15, Hayti. 16, Notre Dame. 17, Portageville. 18, South Pemiscot. 19, Twin Rivers. 20, Crothersville. 21, Oak Ridge. 22, Scott County Central. 23, St. Vincent. 24, Chaffee, which is unranked. They were unranked last week. Moving into that top 25 poll this week. Got a few impressive victories. And 25, Risco. And on the bubble, on the outside looking in, Doniphan, Farmington, Scott City, and Bloomfield. And taking a look at the state rankings for the state of Missouri for boys basketball in Class 1 at number 1, Medville, moving up to number 1 this week. 2, Drexel. 3, South Iron. 4, Fair Play. 5, Leopold, up to number 5 this week. 6, Bramer. 7, Ridgeway. 8, Glasgow. 9, Southwest of Livingston. And 10, Oak Ridge, moving into the top 10 this week. In Class 2, Billings still on top at number 1, 2, West Platte, 3, Kenton, 4, Holcomb, 5, Salisbury, 6, Crossroads, 7, Oran, 8, Bernie, 9, Iberia, and 10, Cole Camp. So 3 top 10 teams here in Southeast Missouri in Class 2. In Class 3, Madison Prep at number 1, 2, Charleston, 3, Maplewood, Richmond Heights, 4, John Burroughs, 6, Higginsville, 6, Fatima, 7, Clever, 8, St. James, 9, Stratford, and 10, Cuba. In Class 4, Sykeston at number 1, 2, Republic, 3, Lafayette of St. Joseph, 4, Center, 5, Duchesne, 6, Liberty North, 7, Mexico, 8, Hillcrest, 9, Moberly, and 10, Webb City. And in Class 5, number 1, Hazelwood Central, 2, Nixa, 3, Lee Summit West, 4, Hickman, 5, Blue Springs South, 6, Ladue, 7, Christian Brothers College, CBC, 8, DeSmet, 9, Parkview, and 10, Rockhurst. And those are your boys' rankings for the state of Missouri. And Scott, we've got probably a month or less, probably less than a month for some teams, depending on what class you're in, left in the season. And I'll tell you, this is the tough stretch. You know, you're coming into, getting into your conference schedule, playing a lot of conference games, and as we talked about with the Bernie coaches, the Bernie coaches, they got some tough games ahead, and that's really what you hit this last month is that tough stretch of schedule.
Yeah, it absolutely is, and I tell you what, like we were talking earlier, right now is the time that you want to hit those games, get you prepared for the district tournaments. You want to be playing your best here towards the end of the season, and hopefully those games will get the teams prepared for that.
Sure, and coming into February now, it's the last stretch of the season before district play and eventually state tournament play. So a lot to look forward to in this last month of basketball here in southeast Missouri and also down in northeast Arkansas. And we touched on Dexter's schedule there, the remaining games that they've got for girls basketball. Saxony Lutheran, that's one team that's really made some strides.
Yeah, we haven't even really talked about them at all, and man, they're playing very well, ranked in the state. They're in Class 3, and they play a lot of really young girls. I think they start 3 or 4 freshmen on their team.
Wow.
And they're kind of how Dexter was a couple years ago when the junior class were freshmen, and we're playing really well. And so that's going to be a real exciting game. Dexter goes up there for that game here in just a few days.
Sure, that's a big game to look forward to. As we mentioned, don't have a lot to talk about them because they've really come on strong here this year. And as you say, they're playing 3 or 4 freshmen. That's pretty impressive. And Notre Dame, Cape Central Bluff, there's the big games for Southeast Missouri and girls teams, of course. And there you've got Twin Rivers, Republic, Jackson, and Sykeston. So pretty tough little stretch there, including Republic. That's going to really beef that last part of the schedule up there.
Yeah, that Republic game, that's going to give us a kind of a test to see where we're at in Class 4 teams, and that Republic is 15, 16 and 0, and they beat some very good teams. And over in Southwest Missouri, they play a really good brand of girls basketball, and so we're real fortunate to be able to get them on the schedule.
Sure, and we'll be looking forward to it. Don't forget about the Coaches versus Cancer shootout taking place today over in Charleston, and a lot of good games over there slated for today in Charleston. Now let's take a look at some upcoming games we have here on YHC Channel 21 as well as SemoSportsZone.com. And as we mentioned with the Bernie coaches, will be down there in Bernie for Hockham and Bernie Tuesday night. And that'll be live here on Channel 21 and SemoSportsZone.com. So look forward to that one this coming Tuesday night. Big game there in Bernie Tuesday. And Thursday we'll have Advance at Risco. That's going to be a nice one as well. We'll have that one live here on Channel 21 and online at SemoSportsZone.com as well. And the next Friday, we've got the Boot Hill Conference Tournament Finals at Malden. We'll have the JV Finals and the Varsity Finals there from Malden next Friday night. We'll have that one live online and TV as well. The next Monday night, we've got Notre Dame at Dexter. That'll be live from the Bearcat Event Center. Look forward to that one. And the next night, Tuesday the 5th, we've got New Matter County Central at Kennett. We're going to try to bring that one live to you down there in Kennett as well. And Thursday night, we've got Rector at Piggott down there in Piggott. We'll probably put that one at least, we'll have that one on TV and SemoSportsZone.com as well, and YHCTV.com for that game. And Friday, February 8th, we've got Kennett at Dexter, and we'll have that one live on Channel 21 and online as well. So look forward to those upcoming games here on YHC. And Scott, we appreciate you being in with us today to help break down the girls' basketball landscape and talking about Dexter. They got a tough road ahead, but look forward to seeing what they can do, and not only Dexter but the other girls teams in the area as well.
Yep. Good to be here, and hope to get to come back and talk some more come playoff time.
Sure, we'll have you back talking about the district and eventual state tournament matchups in girls basketball. And that's all we have for today. We appreciate you for tuning in as always. Appreciate Brad Botsch and Jason Long being in with us today, the Bernie basketball coaches, their impressive week in high school basketball there in Bernie. And we appreciate you for tuning in. We'll see you next week, and until then, have a good one.